What's going on, team? Now, people obviously have very different objectives when it comes to the training that they're doing, but they're also going to have very different emotional associations to the work that they're doing in the gym or on the pitch or on the court or on the field or whatever. For me, as a man in my 30s, my relationship with this stuff has changed drastically. And today I want to share with you a couple of tiny little tweaks in my mindset that have led me to slightly changing my own mental association with the stuff that is a hell of a lot healthier than it was 5 to 10 years ago. And I hope that through this process, they can have even a tenth of the impact on you that they have done on me. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Jim Galvin, and on this channel, we cover all things training, nutrition, biohacking, and ancestral living to help you guys work out what you need to do based on your individual biology to help you improve your performance, your health, and your physique. And today I want to share with you how a couple of tiny little changes in perspective have helped me reassess the way that I look at training and the gym and my own health. So I'm 33 now, but in a different life in my early 20s, I spent 4 or 5 years as a Royal Marines Commando serving in both Iraq and Afghanistan, and then 2 years as a full-time member of the GB bobsleigh team. So a lot of my feeling of self-worth and a lot of my identity was wrapped up in my performance. So when all of this stuff had ended and I was out of the Marines, I had left bobsleigh, I was only 26, but I felt completely lost. Even though I started running my own business and everything on paper was great, I felt really bloody lost for the first time ever in regards to my physical endeavors. And I just felt kind of completely without direction. I did what a lot of ex-military guys did, and I messed around with CrossFit, but I knew from the start that I can never be competitive. I've got an injury with my wrist that means I'll never be able to snatch properly. I'll never be able to do a handstand walk. I can't even do press-ups on my hands. I have to do them on my fists. So knowing this stuff would exclude me from kind of the top tier competitive level meant I changed my association. I never really took it seriously. Thought about martial arts. I even thought about going back to athletics, which was my initial sporting background before the Marines. But one thing that's really interesting with this, guys, is I was so unbelievably flipping results driven as opposed to process driven. I was so blinded by the idea of glory and being good and being kind of elite at something, because I've been lucky enough to be a Royal Marine and a Team GB athlete up until this age, and I was still only in my mid-20s. The process and sacrificing this time, effort, energy and money into the work that I had to put in was just the price I had to pay, and not enjoying the process at all was something that, strangely enough, I just kind of thought would be the case. And I did something I shouldn't have done really, which was this accept that not enjoying that was okay. It carried on like this for years, and it is only now, as always with a couple of mindset tweaks in whatever kind of realm or paradigm you're in, now that I'm out of that situation, out of that mindset, turn the kind of the periscope back around, look back on how I was thinking and how I was feeling about this stuff. It's only now that I can objectively recognize that for a lot of my time, I really didn't enjoy training. Only about 2 years ago did things luckily change. I was just at the end of my tether of bloody paying the price to build the foundations of strength, fitness, endurance, everything, kind of be a good all-rounder so that I could turn my hand to something in the future, laying the best possible building blocks of some mythical goal that I didn't even have clarity on. This then, kind of inevitably when you're in this mindset, led to kind of this weird behavioural regression when it came to training. I just crossed my arms and stomped my feet like a petulant child for a couple of weeks. And I decided I didn't care about the end goal for a while, and I was just going to do the stuff in the gym that I wanted to do, regardless of whether or not it didn't really lead to the building of foundations of, again, this mythical objective. This weird, rock bottom of emotional association with all things training, born from chasing my own personal Shangri-La of fitness, paved the way to my realization of something that now seems so bloody obvious. When you spend 10 plus hours a week doing something, that's kind of door to door with travel and warm-ups and cool downs and everything else included, you should probably tweak the approach to ensure that you're doing something that you actually don't flipping hate, instead of just blindly hoping that it helps you achieve some objective in the future that, again, you have no idea what the hell that might even look like. And from that realization in that couple of weeks period a few years ago, I can honestly say things have changed pretty drastically. And the reason I'm sharing this with you guys now is not only has this happened to me, I actually think this is quite a common trend for an emotional and intellectual change to happen for men in their 30s. Men that were super fit, healthy, either elite or sub-elite in their chosen pursuit, be it sporting or military or whatever, especially if they have a sense of incompletion with that physical pursuit. Feeling like they could have achieved more, competed or participated at a higher level, whatever that may be. But we're human, right? And I'm happy to admit that sometimes my ego properly flipping kicks in digs its heels in, and I do become triggered by this stuff again. So today I want to share with you a couple of things that have helped keep me in a much happier, safer, freer, healthier mindset about my own performance, my health, and my physique. So let's get cracking, shall we? So there's a couple of things that when I do start to become triggered and I start to feel annoyed that I didn't compete at a higher level, or that I'm not in the shape or as strong or as fast as whatever that I used to be, and I do start comparing myself more to other people again, things that again, us being human, we're all gonna fall prey to now and again. There's a couple of things that I have kind of anchored into my memory, almost these tiny little narratives that I have on speed dial, that whenever I can consciously see myself and experience myself being triggered, I turn it round, and I'm very, very familiar with these things, and some of these things just kind of allow me to hold on to something, and they normally pull me out of that funk. The first one is I try to be fairly objective about my objective. By this I mean something that allows us to be healthy and able-bodied and mobile and kind of like cognitively sharp and focused and full of energy and looking good doing whatever we're doing. Those are the foundations of living a well-rounded life, and investing that time, effort, energy and money into training, into something that we enjoy to achieve those objectives is a worthy enough pursuit. And if you are all of those things that I just mentioned, things are going pretty bloody well for you. And for each of us individually, I believe that we can anchor into a particular memory or a particular idea of some way that we can prove that this is the case for us, and that we do have those foundations to live the life that we want. What's one thing that you can do to give you joy, that can allow you to tap into joy, that you can access because of these qualities? Is it running in the hills? Is it playing tennis? Is it having a kickabout with your kids? Is it being able to walk your dog without pain? Is it something that we've always taken for granted, but something that everyone doesn't necessarily have, like genuinely being confident enough to take your top off on the beach and not even thinking about it? For me personally, it's two super stupid things. It's going for a run, and it's playing badminton with my friends at my local leisure centre. This weird thing that is super mindful for me. And if I can do that and feel as though I can truly attack whatever I'm doing, and I can execute those things without pain and without physical discomfort, I'm reminded that overall things are going okay for me. So having in your mind and your memory something that is locked and loaded of what you can do to access joy, something that you find that is fun, that you can only do because you have those foundations of being able-bodied, of being mobile, of being cognitively sharp, etc. Just having that on speed dial allows me to kind of like turn around, look at this, hold on to this, and that does pull me out of a funk when my ego starts to trigger me and I start to think that I'm shit now compared to how I was when I was 25. That's the first one, guys. The second one is as follows, super kind of contemporary in this day and age, and that is that it offers me a sanctuary for my mental health. The gym for me is a space where my mind is temporarily parked. I'm tuning into my breath, I'm tuning into the sensations of what I'm doing, and cliche as it might sound, it does require enough focus and attention that the focus and attention is on what I am doing in that present moment, and I am not necessarily or even able half the time when the session's flipping hard to think about work, to think about business, to think about all the other things that might add up as kind of like chronic stressors through the months and over the years. Use this space as something that assists you, even if that is through the process of eliciting a little bit of pain, suffering, and discomfort through a training session. Embrace the benefit of this experience and be more process driven, not just results driven. The time that you spend in the gym should be a refuge, it should be a sanctuary. It is not purely a means to an end. The third one is that it's a demonstration that time for yourself, directly benefiting no one other than you, is still a worthy and justified goal. You and your health, both physical and mental, is worthy of attention and focus and time. I know people with busy jobs and families might say that it could, in theory, be selfish to spend this time on yourself, but again, you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So if you do not do something for yourself regularly, and by regularly, I don't mean flipping once a month, you go for a spa day or go out on a piss with your friends, I mean something daily, then objectively, you're just not gonna have enough energy and enough kind of good spirit to offer to flipping anyone. I don't have children myself, so I know that I can't necessarily speak to that kind of insane increase in demand of your time to another paradigm, but I just flipping refuse to believe that 90 minutes, investing 90 minutes in yourself every single day, and having that not as a luxury, but having that as an absolutely goddamn non-negotiable, I refuse to concede to the idea that that is ever selfish. Number 4, maintenance in and of itself, past a certain age, is a worthy pursuit and is of itself success. If you're now 42 and you'd be happy to look the way that you do now when you're 55, just keep doing what you're doing. And it can be difficult, and I understand that some people will be like, yeah, no, I get that, I understand that intellectually, so I have intellectual comprehension of this, but my emotional experience is still that I feel frustrated that I'm not where I was when I was 25, I get that. And the only way that you can kind of cross that bridge from being like, I intellectually understand, to I actually do feel that way, my experience, I'll own my story, the only way that you can get there is just repetition of continuing to try and recondition that narrative. And the more that you tell yourself this, the more you'll kind of understand that if you are 42 or 43 and you look only 5% a little bit softer and not quite as strong as you were when you were 25, flipping heck, man, you're doing pretty well. At some point, whether it's 43 or 83, we're going to have to accept that we are hostage to our physiology and that our physiology beyond a certain point is going to get weaker, and accepting that at 43 compared to 83 means the next 40 years of your life are probably going to be a hell of a lot happier. Number 5, it can be very difficult to ditch the kind of the Puritan approach to fitness. If the pursuit of perfection can feel slow, we can become very disheartened. Once again, if you are 39 with a busy corporate job and a family, don't compare yourself to someone who's 25 whose full-time job it is to get an arm pump. Look within and anchor yourself in the reminder that looking better than we have done and still able-bodied, energetic, mobile, able to attack life, a new sport and everything we do without feeling like we're shackled on the sidelines, or sometimes worse, able to play the game but we're not able to fully exert ourselves because we're tired, sore, immobile, foggy-headed, weak, injured, etc. This is success. Since this change and this acceptance, I don't consider this weakness, I don't consider it conceding. And for me, ironically, because I've made a couple of slight tweaks and changes in my diet, I now intermittent fast, I have bone broth every day, I'm gluten-free. These little things, along with my acceptance of the fact that fitness should be fun, not necessarily for an end goal, has ironically, but circumstantially, led to an increased performance. Health and physique is definitely a question mark, but overall, I am healthier and my endurance is better than it's been in a hell of a long time. And for me, the experience of everything, whether or not it's an individual gym session, whether it's a run on the road, whether or not it's an OCR, or whether or not it's a world record attempt, all of these things are now executed far more from a place of fun than they ever have been. I attempt to enjoy all of these things in isolation, purely bringing my mind to the present moment and having fun with the task at hand. To no end other than me thinking in that moment, this is playtime now, let's go. Do I do this 100% of the time, every time I go to the gym, every time I do a race, every time I do everything? No, because I'm human. Sometimes I still fall prey to it and I feel frustrated that I'm not in as good shape as I think I probably could be. Sometimes I'm annoyed that I missed out on the Olympics by one spot, that I never even bothered applying for the Special Forces, and that I never continued martial arts after my European gold. But when these feelings do come up, I try to anchor myself in one or a couple of the things I've just mentioned to you now. And it invariably calms me down a bit and reminds me of the futility of focusing on things this way. And then by the next day, it's usually gone again. I can honestly say that I am not as strong, as fast, or as lean as I have been at certain different times throughout my life. But my relationship with my own performance and with the future of my performance and with the process of working out every day, I can honestly say is so much healthier, freer, and more playful than it has ever been in my entire life. If that resonates with even one person, as always, I will consider this video a success. Have an amazing day, guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay awesome. Peace out, and I'll see you soon.